Welcome everyone. Join us today as we celebrate the life and career of Arthur Brown, the legendary god of Hellfire, whose fiery performances and fearless creativity changed rock forever. So let's dive in. Arthur Wilton Brown, born the 24th of June 1942, in Whitby North Riding of Yorkshire, England. Born to father Peter Brown, a navigator, and mother Monica Wilton, a food analyst, Arthur came into the world in the seaside town of Whitby, North Yorkshire, during a German air raid. He grew up amidst the post-war reconstruction of England, a period marked by social upheaval and rebuilding after the devastation of World War II. Music entered his life through his father, who played piano, and from an early age Arthur performed duets with his brother in church. He also participated in local jazz bands, nurturing his burgeoning interest in performance. At 12, Arthur began practicing meditation after his father introduced the family to it, as a way of coping with the PTSD they suffered from the London bombings. Around this time, he began writing songs that focused not on the typical teenage preoccupations of cars and girls, but on the human condition and alternative spiritualism, a fascination that would guide his career for decades. Academically gifted, Arthur earned the chance to study law at King's College London. However, music remained his true calling. By the end of his first year, he had been expelled. After briefly working on a sewage farm, he enrolled at Reading University to study philosophy while continuing his musical training. During this period, he formed the R&B combo Blues and Brown and made his recording debut on a flexi disc for Reading Rag Records with a group called the Diamonds. He soon joined the Southwest Five, later renamed Arthur Brown Union, and relocated to London. The band recorded sessions for Polydor, which were never released, and held a residency at the Plug Hole Club, but eventually disbanded. In the early 1960s, Arthur fronted blues and soul bands in London, honing his performance skills. In 1966, he briefly moved to Paris to study theatre, immersing himself in the city's underground art scene. During this period, he developed the concept of an elaborate multimedia stage show, aiming to create a fully immersive experience combining music, costumes, theatrics, and other visual spectacles. Upon returning to London, he joined the Foundations, but became bored with its direction, and departed before their breakthrough hit, Build Me Up Buttercup. He continued performing in local bands, experimenting with sound, theatricality, and performance art, before ultimately forming the crazy world of Arthur Brown, with Nick Greenwood on guitar, Vincent Crane on keyboards, and Draken Thika on drums. Arthur's stage persona, the Lord of Hellfire, emerged at the end of the 1960s, featuring painted faces, piercing screams, frantic dances, and his trademark flaming helmet. The headpiece was originally a vegetable colander with candles, designed with the help of his friend Mike Reynolds in Paris. A pie plate prevented wax from dripping into his hair, and a chin strap was added later. Petrol poured into the plate ignited flames that shot from horns inspired by the Greek god Pan, giving audiences the impression of devilish horns. The group began playing shows around London in 1967. Early performances provoked strong reactions, audiences sometimes walked out, and violence occasionally erupted. One night, a club owner even paid the band to leave to prevent further disturbances. Eventually, they became regulars at London's UFO Club, where they found a more receptive audience among the city's artistic and intellectual crowd. The crazy world of Arthur Brown soon supported established acts, including the Jimi Hendrix Experience, the Small Faces, Joe Cocker, and The Who. It was The Who's manager, Kit Lambert, who brought Arthur to Atlantic Records. A deal was struck, with Pete Townsend assisting as associate producer. Although Arthur had intended to record a full Fire Suite concept album, Lambert persuaded him to split it, with the first side containing the suite, while the second side included standalone numbers, such as covers of Screamin' Jay Hawkins' I've Put a Spell on You, and James Brown's I've Got Money. The album, The Crazy World of Arthur Brown, was recorded in early 1968 and released in June of that year. At the time, Simon and Garfunkel's Mrs. Robinson, and Herb Alpert's This Guy's in Love with You, dominated the charts. Fire gradually gained popularity, reaching number 1 in the UK and Canada, and peaking at number 2 in the US, only held off by the Beatles' Hey Jude. With the song's success, Arthur appeared on top European music shows, including Top of the Pops, Beat Club, and This Is Tom Jones. Often bare-chested and engulfed in flames, his theatrics shocked British television audiences and sparked rumours that he was a devil worshipper, though in reality he was deeply drawn to Eastern philosophy. During a US tour supporting The Doors, Frank Zappa and MC5, drummer Draken Thika quit, later replaced by a young Carl Palmer, and Vincent Crane suffered a nervous breakdown, forcing him to return to England and leaving Arthur to continue with substitute musicians. During a performance at the Windsor Music Festival, Arthur's helmet malfunctioned, setting his hair on fire. He fell to the stage screaming in agony while the audience initially thought it was part of the act. A spectator doused him with beer, alerting others to help. From then on, Arthur adopted protective metal masks and chainmail headpieces for fire performances. 2 more US tours followed, but Crane's instability led him to leave again. A second Crazy World album, Strange Lands, was recorded without him but abandoned by management, but would eventually surface in 1988 on the Reckless label. Preoccupied with spiritualism and meditation, Arthur disbanded the Crazy World of Arthur Brown, and formed Kingdom Come, a band dedicated to exploring universal harmony and introspection. Between 1971 and 1973 they released 3 albums, blending electronics, art rock, and R&B. Some of Arthur's finest compositions came from this period, including Love Is the Spirit That Will Never Die, though audiences expecting theatrical spectacle were less receptive, and the group disbanded in 1974. In 1975, Arthur appeared in Ken Russell's film version of The Who's Tommy, performing Eyesight to the Blind, alongside Eric Clapton, followed by the release of his first solo album, Dance, a return to his R&B roots. That same year, Alan Parsons enlisted him as a guest vocalist on The Telltale Heart, from Tales of Mystery and Imagination. He next pursued a well-received collaboration with German electronic musician Klaus Schulze between 1977 and 1980, followed by a largely ignored reunion with Vincent Crane for the album Faster Than the Speed of Light, in 1980. He relocated to the US with his American wife, settling in Texas, and by the mid-1980s had largely stepped back from performance. During this period, an opportunity arose to record with Peter Gabriel, but the plan was abandoned before any sessions took place. Arthur released Speak No Tech and Requiem on small independent labels, though his focus had shifted toward family and spiritual pursuits, earning a master's degree in counseling, studying with a Mexican shaman, and eventually becoming a minister with the Church of Universal Life. Still, music never disappeared entirely, and he recorded Brown, Black and Blue in 1991, with former Mothers of Invention drummer, Jimmy Carl Black, his partner in a house painting business, and fronted a US version of The Crazy World. In 1993, Arthur took a big step and decided to tour the UK with his US band, his first UK visit for many years. The tour was a huge success, but his long-standing marriage broke up upon his return. Refocused, Arthur returned in 1994 to attack the European market. Things were going well until, during the high point of the act, he hit the piercing scream in fire and suddenly collapsed. He had suffered a massive brain hemorrhage and was lucky to survive, spending 6 months convalescing in a UK hospital. Although commercial success remained elusive, Arthur's fearless innovation influenced generations of shock rock performers. In the mid-1990s, he and fellow counselor Jim Maxwell co-founded Healing Songs Therapy, creating personalized songs to help clients confront emotional struggles. Once again embracing his theatrical roots, he returned to the stage, collaborating and touring with artists such as Alice Cooper, Robert Plant, Hawkwind, and The Darkness. He also sought justice for his years of missing royalties from the Fire recordings and album, launching a massive lawsuit against Polydor Records for millions in unpaid earnings and damages. In 2007, Arthur reignited the flames, literally, setting his head on fire during a performance in East Sussex. While band member Phil Rhodes attempted to douse the flames, he also caught fire, yet the performance continued, a testament to Arthur's resilience and showmanship. Eventually, Arthur returned to England due to health considerations. In 2022, he released the studio album Monster Ball, marking the latest chapter in a career that spans more than 6 decades. On a personal note, Arthur was married twice. His first marriage to Jeanette produced a son Julian in 1964. They later divorced, and in 1976 he married Salima, a legal assistant, with whom he had another son, Ali. Today, in his 80s, Arthur Brown is primarily retired, but remains an active influence on modern music and stagecraft, and still tours to this day. His legacy as the godfather of shock rock endures, and his music continues to inspire musicians and audiences seeking theatricality, intensity, and spiritual depth in rock performance. Arthur's combination of intellect, spiritual curiosity, and fearless artistic experimentation ensures that his crazy world still burns brightly in the collective imagination of music lovers everywhere, for all time. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos on your favorite artists, just like this. Take care and bye for now.